Iran has issued an ultimatum linked to U.S. universities in the region, warning that action must be taken by 12 noon or those campuses could face retaliation. The strike in Tehran has now triggered threats of carnage against foreign-linked campuses, as Iran dramatically widens the scope of targets. The war now appears to be shifting from nuclear-linked sites to universities as well, marking a disturbing new phase. The IRGC has openly declared that Israeli and U.S. universities in the region are now legitimate targets amid war. The IRGC has now declared that Israeli and American universities in West Asia are targets, dramatically widening the kinds of sites Iran says could face retaliation in the war. Iran says its retaliatory strikes will now extend to universities after attacks on a major Iranian campus, signaling a sharp escalation in both rhetoric and targeting threats. The IRGC made this latest revenge vow in a statement issued on March 28, according to reporting by Press TV and other outlets that cited the Iranian warning. The same statement also set conditions for the U.S. and Israel to avoid strikes on their universities, including demands that Washington condemn the bombing of Iranian universities and that people keep distance from such campuses. IRGC statement said, and I quote, "The American Zionist aggressor forces, by bombing Tehran's University of Science and Technology, have once again targeted Iranian universities. All Israeli and American universities in the region would be considered legitimate targets until 2 universities belonging to the aggressors were struck in retaliation. All staff, professors, and students of American universities in the region, as well as nearby residents, advised to maintain a distance of 1 kilometer from these institutions for their own safety. If the U.S. government wants its universities in the region to be exempt from retaliatory strikes, it must, by 12 o'clock noon Tehran time, 8:30 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, on Monday, March 30th, issue an official statement condemning the bombings of universities. Furthermore, if it wants its regional universities to remain unharmed afterward, it must prevent its allied forces from attacking universities and research centers. Otherwise, the threat remains valid and will be carried out." Unquote. Several American universities do have campuses or affiliated institutions across the Gulf region, which is why the warning has drawn wider regional attention beyond Iran and Israel alone. Examples often cited in coverage include Texas A&M University in Qatar and New York University in the United Arab Emirates, both of which show how deeply Western academic institutions are present in the region. On March 28, strikes were reported at the University of Science and Technology in Tehran, which Iranian statements described as another attack on the country's academic infrastructure. Reports said the strikes damaged university buildings but did not cause casualties, even as Iranian officials strongly condemned the incident. The university and Iranian officials denounced the attack as a violation of international law and framed it as part of a broader assault on Iran's scientific and cultural foundations. Earlier in the war, Isfahan University of Technology had also been cited by Iranian officials as one of the institutions hit during U.S. and Israeli strikes. Iran is also accusing the U.S. and Israel of bombing an elementary school during the early phase of the war, using that claim to reinforce its broader case that civilian and educational sites have been targeted. The spokesperson for the Iranian parliament also made a major claim about Kharg Island on March 28, portraying the strategic island as stable despite growing concerns over possible U.S. action. Ibrahim Rizoi said that life has returned to normal in Kharg, according to reporting linked to Fars news agency and other Iranian media coverage. Rizoi added that Kharg Island is in complete security and said Iran's armed forces remain fully ready for any possible escalation around the island. He also warned that any aggression against Kharg Island would be met with a decisive and irreversible response, underscoring Tehran's attempt to deter any direct assault. Rizoi's remarks came amid reports of a possible U.S. ground operation involving Kharg Island as Washington weighs options in the conflict. Notably, the United States is deploying troops from the 82nd Airborne Division to the Middle East as part of broader contingency planning for the region. That deployment has raised fears of a possible ground operation, especially as military preparations continue alongside a pause in some energy-related strike options. Reports say Iranian forces have already started laying mines and moved additional troops and defensive assets to the island in anticipation of a possible assault. Iran has reportedly been laying traps that include anti-personnel and anti-armor mines, making any attempted landing operation significantly more dangerous. Kharg Island is crucial because it reportedly handles roughly 90% of Iran's crude exports, making it a vital node in the country's economic survival. Reports have said the Trump administration has considered the island seizure as leverage tied to reopening or securing the Strait of Hormuz.
Along with a number of our colleagues, we have arrived at the resilient Kharg Island. God willing, life is continuing and oil exports are proceeding without any problems, and we have not seen any specific issues here. Security is completely established on the island. The valiant employees of the oil industry are also busy carrying out their activities on this island. What I can confidently tell you is that our armed forces are committed and sworn that if any aggressor violates this Iranian island, they will certainly face the harshest response and will not return alive.
Meanwhile, the IDF said on March 28 that it would continue operations aimed at destroying Iran's ability to produce and use nuclear-related strike capabilities.
On Saturday, the fire from Iran and Lebanon continued towards Israel. Last night, as a result of the fire from Iran towards the city of Tel Aviv, an Israeli citizen was killed. This is a difficult event, and I express my condolences to his family. A uranium enrichment facility, the only one of its kind in Iran, essentially the first link in the value chain of nuclear weapon production. Additionally, we attacked the heavy water plant in Iraq, where the regime planned to produce materials for nuclear weapon development. This is a facility we have already targeted in the past, but we observed that the regime is trying to restore it. We are continuously denying more and more capabilities that threaten Israel's security in Lebanon. The Northern Command forces, led by the command leader, are attacking and achieving numerous successes. IDF forces are maneuvering in southern Lebanon, and deepening the defense space control of this area prevents direct fire on the settlements. To that end, we are currently taking action. Alongside these actions, we are constantly focusing on damaging rocket launching capabilities toward Israel. So far, we have eliminated more than 850 Hezbollah operatives. Today, we attacked and eliminated in Lebanon Ali Hassan Shorib, an operative in the intelligence unit of the Radwan force. As our operation deepens, the forces encounter more threats and more terrorists. The fighters operate bravely, under complex conditions, risking their lives and succeeding in destroying the enemy and pushing them back. We will continue to deepen this activity in order to distance threats from our settlements. During fighting, there are prices, sometimes difficult and painful prices. Unfortunately, there are civilians who have been killed and injured as a result of Hezbollah and Iran. During the battles in southern Lebanon, fighters have fallen, and there are also wounded in battles. Their fighting and bravery will not be in vain. They fell defending the settlements and residents of the north. We will continue to strike and weaken Hezbollah. I'll start with the second question, if I may, to clarify. Since things have already been said and in an inaccurate manner, it's important for me to clarify them here and now. First of all, the IDF is strong. Attacking, for 2.5 years now, on multiple fronts, in Iran for the second time, in Lebanon, in Gaza, we are removing threats and attacking terrorists in Judea and Samaria and more. And we will continue to do this until the threats are removed over Israeli citizens. It is important to clarify this, the IDF is strong. As I mentioned to you earlier, we are acting according to a structured plan in full coordination with our American partners. An unprecedented and exceptional level of cooperation. There is no gap between us, it's important to say. Politicians say things that occur at the political level happen at the political level. We, at the military level, are well coordinated with the American military. We have a structured plan, and we continue to act accordingly, achieving very good results. I say this, as we previously presented the objectives, also at the leadership level, and there are more things we will be publishing in the coming days, you will see. Regarding the supposed American invasion, of any kind, I said that we are well coordinated with the American military. There are things we do together, there are things the American Army does, and there are things that the IDF does, separately. Again, the coordination is excellent. We have a gentleman's agreement that each military speaks on behalf of its own military. I speak on behalf of the Israel Defense Forces. I cannot comment on actions supposedly taken by the American military. We see that the American military continues to amass forces. This is also publicized. Almost every day, we are once again acting in a very coordinated manner, continuing together to strike at this terror regime. I'll start with the first one. In Operation Lion's Roar, we severely damaged the entire nuclear production chain in Iran. We targeted capabilities. The production in the factories, all the components up to the enrichment, centrifuges, reactors, and so on, the entire production chain was affected. It was delayed, but not completely destroyed, and we are currently working to damage the entire nuclear production chain. In the previous statement, I mentioned 2 additional factories in Yazd and Arak, where we have significantly impacted operations, and we will continue to target these components. Regarding the uranium that is underground and so forth, I cannot address this issue. But as I said, we continue to impact everything, its production chain, to remove this threat. We will not turn a blind eye to Iran. That is why we are taking action. And the second question, can you repeat? Regarding Arbar Sich, we targeted him in a very deep manner, both his headquarters and commanders. You see, we targeted the commander and the deputy and his staff officers in Tehran, also in Isfahan last week. We targeted barriers in the streets, everywhere they started to hide, even in places in the streets we targeted them, and once again we are acting on opening strategy and also from base siege in the programs. Look, we are acting again, we are adjusting the plan according to the situation assessment. We also targeted the base siege, and everything, you know, in Beto, also in Push, also in Tars, and we will continue to target everyone. There are more targets.